On the coldest night of the year, when the city seemed to hold its breath beneath a blanket of falling snow, a small, trembling knock echoed against the polished oak door of a mansion that stood like a fortress of wealth and silence, and inside that mansion lived Adrian Blackwood, a billionaire whose name ruled boardrooms and headlines but whose heart had long since sealed itself behind walls thicker than stone, a man who measured life in profits and losses ever since the night his wife died. And his little daughter vanished from his world in a chaos of hospitals, grief, and unanswered questions. That night, as the knock came again, so soft it could have been mistaken for the wind, Adrian almost ignored it, because people like him were rarely disturbed after midnight unless something was broken, and yet something in that sound tugged at him. A thread he didn't know still existed, so he opened the door and there she was, a poor little girl no older than 7, standing barefoot in the snow, clutching a torn shawl around her thin shoulders, her lips pale, her hands shaking as she held them together like she was praying, her eyes enormous and dark and painfully familiar as she whispered with a courage that didn't belong to a child, "Sir, please. I just need some bread." And for a moment Adrian only saw poverty and desperation, another tragedy the world had casually dropped at his doorstep, but then the porch light caught her face fully and the world tilted, because those eyes were the same eyes he saw every time he looked in the mirror, the same eyes that once looked up at him from a hospital bed as machines beeped and doctors spoke in hushed tones, and his chest tightened as memories he had buried clawed their way back to the surface, memories of his daughter Lily, declared dead after a fire, a body never found, a case closed too quickly because money had smoothed the paperwork and grief had numbed his questions. The girl shivered and repeated, "Please, sir," and Adrian realized he was staring, frozen, as if one wrong move would shatter her into snow. So he knelt down despite the cold seeping into his tailored trousers and asked her name, his voice hoarse. And when she said, "Lila," something broke inside him. Because that was the nickname he used to whisper to Lily when she was afraid of the dark, and he ushered her inside without another thought, wrapping her in warmth, calling for hot soup, watching her devour the bread with a hunger that was both physical and emotional, as if she hadn't been fed kindness in years, and as she ate she told him a story in fragments, about an orphanage that burned, about people who came and went, about running when things got scary, about sleeping under bridges and learning which houses had lights on late at night, and with every word Adrian felt the walls of his carefully constructed life crumble, because the more she spoke the more the impossible became undeniable, the small scar on her wrist from when she fell chasing butterflies in the garden, the way she tilted her head when thinking, the melody of her laughter when the soup was too hot and she burned her tongue, and by the time she finished eating, tears streamed down the face of a man the world believed incapable of them. He called doctors, lawyers, investigators not with the cold efficiency of a tycoon but with the frantic urgency of a father who had been given a second miracle, and through long hours of DNA tests and sleepless pacing the truth emerged like dawn after endless night. Lila was Lily, his daughter, stolen not by death but by circumstance, lost in the cracks of a broken system while he had drowned himself in work to survive his grief, and when the confirmation came he collapsed to the floor, holding her as if the world might try to take her again, whispering apologies into her hair for every birthday he missed, every bedtime story he never read, every moment she spent hungry while he dined at tables of gold. The days that followed transformed the mansion into something it had never been, a home, filled with laughter, warmth, and healing. But Adrian knew love alone was not redemption, so he used his wealth not to build higher walls but to tear them down. Funding shelters, reforming orphanages, creating systems that searched for lost children instead of burying their files, and every time he told his story he began the same way, with a knock he almost ignored, reminding the world that sometimes the greatest miracles arrive disguised as inconvenience, and as Lila grew stronger and smiled brighter, she would sit beside him and say, "Daddy, you opened the door," and he would answer, "No, my love, you saved me," and if this story moved you even a little, if it reminded you that kindness can change lives and that every door you open might hide a miracle, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because stories like these aren't just meant to be watched, they're meant to be felt, shared, and carried forward, one open door at a time.